Hello, everybody. I'm Charles Mead. I'm the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for the Capital Area Council, and we are very pleased today to be joined by our Council Registrar, Tanya Riley, and Mike Cray from the National Council. And today we're going to be focusing on a change that's coming that I think a lot of folks should be excited about, because it's going to mean that your life will get a little bit easier when it comes time for things like recharter and membership renewal. Mike, we're looking at your presentation now, which we're going to go through and let you finish, and then we'll have a few questions to ask you afterwards. But for the moment, why don't you take us through this?
Well, great. Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me come and kind of update everybody on the changes in unit renewal and membership renewal that took effect March 1st. So let me walk through some slides that I have, and then we can go through some Q&A, as you said. First of all, I just want to kind of update how we got here and what's happening and what's happened in the last few weeks. In the middle of February, we turned on the new unit renewal piece. This really only affects units that are renewing in March and April at this point. And then also the auto renewal for members. And this, some of your folks may have already gotten emails because of positions they have at the district or council level that may come up to renew. A lot of merit badge counselors might be in the spring, things like that. So that is now in production and working just fine. We also pushed just yesterday on our calendar a change in the workflow for adult registration. This is a change as a result of trying to up our game as far as youth protection. And so starting March 1st, the adult application process requires that the criminal background check is completed before the adult becomes a registered, available, active adult leader. And I have more on that in a minute. And then we also have some adjustments to be made by the middle of the month. The biggest adjustment is those of us that wear multiple hats. Maybe I'm registered as a Cub Master, but I'm also a member of the troop committee or a unit commissioner or a merit badge counselor. We're going to sync all the registrations that each person has to the registration that's the paid position. So, and the idea is that you'll only have to renew one time a year instead of having a different month for each of the positions that you may hold. So that's going to happen in the next week or so. There's also a new fee structure that's coming out. The Boy Scouts announced that the $25 joining fee is going to go away starting April 1st, which is great news. But to kind of make up that revenue, there's going to be an extra $5 for youth and adult renewals and registration. So that registration fee is going to be $85 for youth starting April 1st, but no joining fee anymore. And then little inside baseball talk, but we are restructuring the national structure. Some of you might know we have 16 council service territories. That's being shrunk down to 14, and that change is going to go into effect. I don't think anybody in your council will even notice that, but it is a thing that we're working on. And then June 1st, the program changes to the Cub Scout program go into effect, and that all will be rolled into Internet Advancement or Scout Book Plus and Scout Book. So all of that works, and that again is a June 1st rollout. So that's kind of what we have in the works going on right now. I mentioned the criminal background check change. We anticipate there'll be a 3 to 5 day delay in the time the application is processed, whether it's an online registration or through the Scout office, and it comes back with from the company that does our criminal background checks. We see that biggest impact is the people that run into the office on Friday afternoon and drop an application off and say, well, we need another adult to go on the camp out. That really isn't possible anymore because the Boy Scouts said, we want every adult leader to have a criminal background check successfully completed before they can be a leader. So we're going to have to get into our minds that we got to move that process back a week to allow that adult application to be processed. So these are kind of the key points of what the new auto renewal membership changes that went into effect are. First of all, it's for all youth and adults. That's important to remember when we talk about members, we're talking about the adults also. And everybody switched to a 12-month term. That change started in August, if you remember. So all the new members from last fall are on this yearly membership 12-month change. We did away with what we used to call prorated fees. And then the new membership renewals will only have a 1 month lapse. We've had 2-month lapse registration forever in the Boy Scouts, and we're going to shrink that down because the renewal process is so much simpler. We feel we don't need an extra 30 days, extra 60 days to actually complete the renewal process. There is a dependency on emails. So we're working to get more and more of the parent guardian emails corrected in the process because there's a email notification. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes that goes out 60 days before the member renewal, and then reminders 30 days, 15 days, 7 days, such. Parents can also opt out of renewing. They obviously have the ability to say, we don't want to renew. We know the units also have the ability to opt somebody out because units and parents know when the scout has quit being involved in the program. So they've moved, they've aged out, whatever the reason is. So we want to make sure that they have the ability to say, don't auto renew me, or tell the unit, don't renew me as a member. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to do that one-time data fix to sync up multiple registrations to the paid registration date. This is a very busy slide, but it kind of shows how we have been doing unit rechartering before last week, and then how we do unit renewals starting March 1st. And it's a much simpler process because the membership renewal is not part of the process anymore. So we're going to walk through the screens here on how a unit would renew their unit going forward. And all the requirements are still there, but it's a much more streamlined process. So this is a sample of what the unit would see. The unit key 3 members, the unit leader, the chair, and the chartered org representative are who the unit key 3 are, and they have access to additional tools in Organization Manager in My.Scouting. And there's a new tab that is there for unit renewal. And if the unit fits in that renewal period, 2 months out, this will be active. And as soon as they open it up, it will do the validation for whether the unit meets the requirements to renew a unit for the Boy Scouts. It'll look at the leadership, it'll look at the members, it'll look at the youth protection training dates for those leaders and validate all that. In this example on the screen, you can see we have an issue with 4 leaders whose youth protection training is out of date. So at this point, the unit knows we got to get those leaders trained before we can renew our unit charter. So that would be the indicator for the unit leader that we got to go back out. The leaders got to get their training. The other biggest validation issue is whether we have enough leaders in the right positions. So as you know, you have to have a couple of members of committee, you have to have a unit leader, you have to have a chair, et cetera. So if you don't have the right leaders in position on the day that the unit goes to renew, you're going to get that validation error. So those are kind of the 2 big issues that units will need to deal with to renew a charter or renew their unit. Once that's done, they come back to this screen, open it up, and the validations will come through as clear. And then I'll back up, I'm sorry. And then simply sign there at the bottom. You can see on the screen where the they're approving to renew the unit for the year, and then simply pay the $100 charter fee to complete the renewal. The unit can save a credit card, or eventually we'll have that ACH kind of e-check option available here, and we'll talk more about why you might want to save that in a couple minutes. But that's the process to renew a unit. The last step, of course, shows that it went through, the payment was accepted, and it'll be in the submitted status for a day or two, and then it'll be depending on when the unit renews, whether it's posted or not. Just like if you processed your charter 2 months early before, it doesn't really take effect until the recharter date. But as far as the process is concerned, you've completed it this time. So that's the new unit renewal process. So now let's talk about the auto renewal membership process. And there's multiple ways that this can be done. First of all, the family or the member can go online and do the process, and we'll look at that. The email notifications have a link in them that go out and take you right to my.scouting and take you to the screen where you do that. Also, if you log into my.scouting and you're within that 2-month period to renew ahead of time, there's a little notice up at the top. You can click on that, and that will take you to the renewal screens also. But we also know that a lot of our units pay some part of the registration renewal for members, whether they pay for adults or they pay for youth or some combination thereof, based on fees that are collected, fundraisers that the unit do, the budget plan, all of the different ways that units collect funds. So those options exist. And of course, as always, if somebody doesn't want to do it online, the unit doesn't want to do it online, can always take the registration renewal paperwork, take it to the Scout office, and have the council do it. So this is a sample. If a family or an adult leader logs into my.scouting, they will see this notice that the registration, in this case for the child of this person, is up to expire. And when it says soon, that's within that 2-month period. So they just click on that, and it's going to take them to My Applications. And My Applications is one of the box options that are on everybody's my.scouting page. But in this case, instead of looking at your members that you have, there's an option for My Renewals now. And then this shows the renewal and when the registration is. And this sample was taken a couple of months ago, so you can see it was a December renewal. But it was still valid because it was in that lapse period. So they just click on Start Renewal, and it brings up very simple page. This is what you want to renew, right? And so 99% of the time, it's going to be a simple go to preview from here. If somebody has multiple positions and they need to change because they were paid as a Cub Master, but now they're in multiple in the troop, but now they're going to only be in the troop, or multiple to the pack, they can manage all that through that select as primary position. If the person has those multiples, they'll display there. So we're going to go to click on preview, and we ask the person to kind of renew and commit to the terms and conditions, and then go to checkout summary. And you're going to get a review of what you're going to pay for. Keep in mind that the Scout Life magazine is always going to default to yes. So if the person is not wanting to get Scout's Life, they just unclick that. It'll recalculate. It'll drop the fee by the $15. It'll recalculate the administrative fee, that 3% that we collect for online payments. And then the person can go forward, pay that, enter their credit card. The billing address is defaulted to the registration address. You can change that if need be. And then you just click place order, and that person has then renewed. Those of you that have done online registration will say that this looks very familiar to the ending of the online registration process, and it is. It's pretty straightforward. going to need a credit card to renew online. Going forward, the process, and there's a little verbiage you can see, the fine print says that we're going to tokenize your credit card. We're going to save that credit card for you to use next year if you want to. And then you have the ability to opt out of that if requested. So long term, we anticipate that a lot of our members are going to say, yeah, keep that credit card on file. And then next year, when it's time to renew, it already self-populates and it makes the process even simpler. So as I said, the unit also has the ability to renew members in that unit. So the unit's going to have to go into, again, organization manager. And again, it has to be one of the unit key 3 members. And they can click this box that says that the unit will pay for renewal applications and then hit save. And that just tells the system that it's all right, that the unit is going to go and process registration renewals for their members. So then in roster, the unit has the ability to select who they want to renew or opt out members. Over time, we know that our registration is going to be over multiple months for every unit because it's when the person joined. Right now, the bulk of the members are going to renew in the month that the unit has always rechartered. But as new members come in, those are going to be on different months. So all the members that joined in August or September, or October last year, they're going to renew starting in July, August, and September of this year, and not in December. So this is going to really kind of kick in starting in July of 2024. So the unit can go and select who they want to renew, and then there's a new box on the header of the roster that's called renew, and they just kind of click on that. And it's going to bring up this kind of summary of what you just selected. So in this case, these are the people that were selected. And then it's going to create a batch, what we call a batch. So it's a bunch of people that are going to renew in one transaction instead of just a one individual. And then there's a go to payment option that the unit would click on. And then that takes the person to a renewal screen. Again, the unit has the ability to enter a credit card or ACH, save the checking account, just like they've done on internet rechartering over the last 3 or 4 years. So that can be saved. We recommend that units probably look at the ACH option because it's only a $1 administrative fee instead of 3%. So if I'm going to renew 10 people, now we're talking real money here. Save that. Next month, I got 2 new members I have to renew. The following month, I have 3 members. So you can see the advantage of saving that ACH in the system, and then the unit will go through the process of renewing people. There is an email that the unit key 3 will get once a month with all the members who are eligible to renew in that time period. So again, keep in mind, it's 2 months out. So the unit leader in July will get an email that says, these are your members that are eligible to renew, people that joined in August. And then the next month, they'll get another email if there's still members to renew. We're not going to flood the unit leader with these emails every day until all the leaders are renewed, but there will be a monthly email that reminds everybody. So that's the process for how the unit would pay. So the members can pay, the parents can pay, the unit can pay. And again, as I said, if need be, the unit could print this out, take a check to the council office, and renew at that point. There's some reports that have been created, and some of these are at the unit level and some are not. But I just kind of wanted to cover some reports we have to support this big change. I mentioned the importance of email addresses. Youth email addresses come from the parent guardian. Youth, we don't collect email addresses for youth. So if the parent guardian is missing, if the parent guardian is not connected with the youth, we need to make that connection. And a lot of councils have been working on this. I think you guys have probably been cleaning up the records. This report's been out for 6 or 8 months now. So you can run a report of what member is missing that parent guardian connection, and then work on making those connections at the council office through the registrar. We also have a report who's missing an email address. And this is just data cleanup. Most of our people have all this data, but we know there are some that don't. So you can run a report, and this report can be run at the unit level, district level, council level. It's in Organization Manager. You can run a report who's missing email address, and use that to help make those connections and get your data ready. A new kind of situation we have is that the units, we know members joined in August, September, October that might have joined a unit that dropped. So the unit was there in August when they joined, but for whatever reason, the unit didn't renew, it lapsed, and now it's dropped. So we have these members that are paid till next August, but that are still active, but they're not in a unit anymore. So there's a report that can be run at the district and council level that are, I'm on the wrong screen, I'm sorry. Who are the members without units? So you might want to run that report and see if you have any yet. But this would be those people that were registered in a unit, the unit dropped, but they are still an active member in scouting. And for those of you that keep track of these things, these members are still counted. They're still active members. They'll show in our membership counts and such, but they just literally are not connected to a unit anymore. We also have a report. This could be run at the unit level, district level, council level. It's in Organization Manager. Members due to renew. So you can run that report. This example was run back in the end of July, and you can see that council had 8,400 members still ready to renew because they were in the process of processing charters. Going forward, obviously, it's going to be very individualized. You may have months where there's nobody to renew. But again, we know that membership is a 12-month process. Over time, we'll have members renewing every month of the year. So that, again, is a report that's found in Organization Manager. And then the last report I wanted to point out is just there's a report that can be run again at the unit level, district level, council level of who's opted out, what members have opted out for whatever reason. We think most of those are going to be people that have moved or have timed out or just whatever reason they're not going to renew. But that's a report that can be run also. So that kind of concludes my prepared presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope that doesn't break our system here. But now I'm available for any questions that you all might have.
Well, and so my first comment is more of a general one. And for years, we have had unit leaders, volunteers who have maybe there are lots of things that we should be doing better for them, but maybe one of the top wishes was find ways to eliminate and or simplify the paperwork administrative process. This seems to me, nothing's perfect, but this seems to me to be one of the most clear examples of the organization trying to speak to that concern.
Yeah, literally a unit can be renewed in 10 minutes at 2:30 in the morning. There's no papers you got to sign, etc. But it's important that the unit does keep up with mainly the YPT training, the youth protection training for their adult leaders. That's going to be the major validation issue that units are going to find. And then on a member standpoint, again, if a unit could go through, click the 15 people they're going to renew, and 10 minutes later they're done. So pretty streamlined. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. Tanya, I know you wind up being in the position where you hear a lot of questions, work with a lot of unit leaders trying to work through the recharter membership renewal process. From your chair, what are your thoughts as you see this? And I know you've already been working through the shift of this as we get into, we're recording this now in early March?
I think it's going to be a lot easier. The big distinction is getting everyone to understand the unit recharter as opposed to the membership renewal. And I know that information is already filtering out. So recharter should be nice and easy. It's going to be the membership renewals that questions pop up. And speaking of that, I did have two questions for Mike that I thought of while he was doing his presentation. And the first one is just for clarification, if a member chooses opt out, that means they have decided not to continue with scouting. They're not going to renew their membership. When that membership does expire, they're done. Is that correct?
That is correct. But I will say, at least at this point, it doesn't block them. The unit could, the unit could still say, oh, Billy's dad clicked that button, but Billy's dad also called us and said, no, we really want to renew. They can still renew them. It's not
Okay.
a hard flag block. It's just a flag telling everybody this person has said they don't want to renew.
Okay. And along those lines, when someone is going through the renewal process and they, for whatever reason, want to change units, is that possible there, or will they have to renew into the current unit and then do a transfer? How will they handle that?
Yeah, this is not a transfer tool. We have that. They can transfer before they renew. They
Mhm.
can transfer after they renew, but that's not the tool to use. This is not a tool to do that.
Okay.
So, Mike,
Good question.
at this point, would you say that maybe the biggest challenge for us all in the implementation of this is almost forgetting the way that we did it previously and trying to not to be Nick Saban-esque, but trusting the process here that is laid out before us. Is that a fair summary, you think?
Yeah, I think so. It is remarkably simple. Assuming all things, the credit card's good, the youth protection training's up to date. I don't have a mess of multiple positions and paid positions that I got to sort out. Just the everyday renewal is pretty simple and quick. And again, in your council, that's going to really start uh, uh, in July. You probably do have some paid district and council people that may come up in April, May, June, whatever, camp staff, merit badge counselors, the multiple people, the people that have been multipled in as a district commissioner, but they paid in December, they're only going to realize my commissioner role has been extended till next December. But anybody that has to pay, it's going to be surprisingly simple. They've never gotten that email before. It's kind of all new. Um, but yeah, I think those of us that have been doing unit recharters for 50 years may struggle with the fact that I don't have to do that, 90 days out and 60 days out and on and on and on. So, but I think once we go through the cycle for a year, this is the way we've always done it. So I think that'll click.
Well, so folks, I think the things that we hope you take away from this is a true reflection of things you've been asking for a while. Make this recharter renewal process easier, more customer friendly. And granted, there'll always be some growing pains when there's a change, but I think that this is working in that direction, and we hope you certainly find it to be the case. Now, of course, we will be here to help you with whatever questions you have throughout that process. Your district executive, your district key three will be there to help you the same as they would through the previous recharter cycles, as well as our staff, Tanya and the rest of our team here at the Fickett Center. If you're watching this on our YouTube, we will have a link to these slides down below. If you're watching this on our membership resources page on our website, we'll also have these slides in the quick links section. Mike Cray from the National Council, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate all this information, and fingers crossed that this goes as well as we all believe that it will.
I think one thing to keep in mind that, especially this year, November, by November, again, this is early March when we're recording this. By November, we will have run thousands of units and tens of thousands of members through this process. So a lot of the little quirks that you may hear about online in the next month or two will be ironed out completely. But as I said, this year, a lot of your units, they're going to be doing two things in November. I got to renew the unit. I got to renew our membership. The next year, the cycle, you're going to be in that situation where maybe half your members are not renewing in December, because of new members joining throughout the year. And it'll become more second nature that we renew members almost every month and renew the unit in November. So I think working through the change that first year is going to just make things really smooth going forward.
Well, Mike, thanks again. And Tanya, thank you for your time today. And for everybody, thank you for listening. And again, check our membership resources page on our website at bsacac.org for more information on this and any and all other membership renewal questions.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mike.